My name is David Gant. I always felt I was destined for a life of adventure. It didn't quite pan out that way. Then one day, I met Miss Kelly Campbell.
What would you do with $1 million?
Probably start my own business. Maybe be a bounty hunter.
Nice.
You know, put a cap in their house.
Ow! Oh, that burns! Oh my gosh, David, let me see.
Oh, God!
I think that bullet just went straight between your cheeks.
Yeah, it feels like it just grazed my biscuits right there betwixt them.
They always say that truth is stranger than fiction. This should be made into a movie. That shit was so crazy. You got to put it on the big screen. And that is just what happened in this story here with Masterminds. This is based on one of the biggest bank heists done in history in America, at least at the time. This was in 1997, where you had real life guy, a guy named David Gant. And David Gant worked for Loomis Armory. You know that those are the trucks. You see them all the time where you see those guys that drive those trucks full of money. You always wonder, man, how come they don't rob that shit? Well, you know, there's a good reason, because chances are you're going to get caught and your story is not going to be as good as David's right here, because the elements that were involved with this, ex-convicts, a hot partner, some things that I think they even made up for this, hitman, you know, there's a lot of things that went on in this story where people, and the fact that there's still money out there that's missing. And that they even called this guy who was stupid enough to botch up this robbery. Now that he's out there consulting on movies, you know, at least this one. There's a lot of things in here that people say, we should make this into a film. A lot of elements in there for a motion picture. And you're probably thinking, man, who's going to get to do this? They're going to get Spielberg, probably. Oh, no, robbery, get Quentin Tarantino to do it. He hasn't done a biopic yet.
Michael Bay,
he's used to bringing in crazy stories. Y'all saw Pain and Gain. And then one person at the meeting said, hey, how about that Napoleon Dynamite guy? He ain't doing one. And this is the part you think everybody like, out. No, everybody like,
Yeah, I bet he's cheap.
Yeah. And everybody's like, man, fuck you. And then somebody else, no, shit, he's the boss's son. They had to get him. Jared Hess is his name. Now, that could either be, look, the story's so crazy that it could work. Getting the Napoleon Dynamite guy, he's used to doing stories about crazy people. That's all his movies are. They're just character studies of odd people.
Oddballs. Yes. But they're stories about non-stories about odd people.
But that's the thing. That's all they are. He just relishes in these awkward, socially awkward people, these eccentric, weird personalities. That's what he goes into. Which, when you're doing something like that, I don't know if you need to bring somebody in to make these characters weirder. As I said, this story right here, it's real. There's a lot of stuff that you can go online and be just as entertained by the real footage and interviews that are out there. And CNBC did a full coverage on this years ago when it happened, and they did it right down to the point of talking to some of the people involved, included David Gant.
We often like to say it sounds like a movie, but boy, in this case, it really does.
We're talking about back in October of 1997.
David Gant, an Iraqi war vet who worked as a Loomis Fargo vault superintendent, pulled off the second biggest heist in U.S. history right here in Charlotte.
I'm sweating, my heart's going, but and once again, I hate to say this, I never felt so alive.
Because you just stolen $17 million.
I just stolen $17 million.
You see how you goddamn right I felt alive.
$17.3 million.
$17.3 million. And even in the movie, there are things that happen that I saw. Like, I can tell you that one of the things that the movie does right is that they put a lot of these oddball elements in the film, and you're thinking to yourself, no, that's not real. But a lot of the stuff that you see in the film really did happen. Like a lot of that stuff that they bought, like the tanning bed and the mansions, the Velvet Elvises that they bought, all that stuff was actually true.
A tale of flashy spending. We're talking Gaston County mansion, a Velvet Elvis, and breast implant.
So
wow.
That was part of the movie. I was like, nah, that didn't happen. Turns out it was all true. Now, where the movie starts to take a turn for me is that this is a film. Look, we know Hollywood lies all the time. When they say based on a true story, that we know that Hollywood's full of shit. So we can't really come in here and criticize this movie for exaggerating some of the characters. Zach Galifianakis in the movie, not too far off from that guy. I thought that they were exaggerating a little bit. Well, you just heard him. But even then, he's still kind of just a little bit playing up a more cartoonish version of the real guy. Now, the thing with this is that he is the patsy in this film. I don't know what he was like in the actual real life story. Sounds like he actually came in and was one of the guys that was contributing a lot of to the plan. But here, they want you to feel sorry for him, and they want you to have some sympathy for him because he's the guy that's being misguided into this. He's being manipulated. Christian Wiig plays his partner, who is pretty much playing up on his crush of her. And that works to a certain extent. Because when you have somebody, look, I know y'all talking about right now, no, man, shit, I've always been cool. Ain't no bitch ever ran over me. No, get the fuck out of here. Like, all of us have had somebody in our lives that's taken advantage of us, has manipulated us. And when you watch the movie, you can kind of relate to the position that Zach Galifianakis is. And also, you don't see his face here, but you have Owen Wilson. He's the blonde-haired dude right there who is a friend of Kristen Wiig's character, and he's the one that's being presented here as sort of the title character, the mastermind behind this whole heist.
So Miss Campbell tells me y'all work together over at Loomis. Said you're one of their best employees, just a real straight arrow, clean as a nun's undies. Fact is, she said you're so trustworthy you're one of the only non-managers to have a key to the vault. See where I'm going with this? I saw you walk in here. You're good looking dude, okay? There's no getting around that. You carry your weight in your chest and your ass, and you have a powerful build, and I think you deserve more. What y'all don't realize. The only thing is, you can't pull a job off like that on your own. You need Confederates.
Loomis Fargo may look like a big warehouse, but the money inside belongs to the banks. And if you take it, well, technically speaking, you're robbing a bank, and that's a federal offense.
David, just listen. We're just talking.
Oh, are you trying to do his best Kenny Loggins impression right there? With that beard, danger zone. He really thinks he's Kenny Loggins right now.
Just talking.
Man, jacking off to them jets. You know, the problem with that is that the movie takes a quick turn to stupid. It's like you already have a story there. Mm-hmm. You already have all the elements in place for something that is way over the top. There's no need for them to go more over the top than they're already doing. If they bring these characters in and want them, these are not characters that are there to propel the story anymore. They're there just to be weird and costume props. You know, right there, you got Zach Galifianakis with the bangs and the feathered hair and the beard. Mm-hmm. You have what's her name?
Kate McKinnon.
McKinnon, who's there to just be kind of disturbing. It's a lot of things that they do to get in the way of the story, and that is the thing that bothers me. And it's not that they just look crazy. They could easily get a laugh for these characters being just the simpletons that they are.
The movie does not know how to get out of its own way.
No.
And I think the problem is that it's a meshing of two things that don't go together. And it's Jared Hess, who's used to working with low-level, maybe even unheard of actors, to have these awkward performances. Like you feel like you were just watching theater in Idaho where everybody's kind of weird with each other. Sort of like Fargo, but without being all that funny. But then you got Lorne Michaels producing, so he brings in the cast of Saturday Night Live, and they're used to playing those skit characters who are over the top. And sure, they're more, well, not relatable. What's the word I'm looking for? They appeal to a broader audience.
Yeah.
But these two things together don't work because they're bringing like more than what should be there, and he's playing it down. So it's a mess.
That's exactly what I'm saying. If the Coen brothers are another competent team of writers and a director got a hold of this, they would have let these people's idiocy speak for itself.
Yeah.
But they do things that they just have to go. It's almost like they're begging for laughs in embarrassing ways. Zach Galifianakis is a funny guy. His hair and his stupidity should speak for itself, but they got to have him overact. They got to, when it comes to the comedy, they got to have him overdo like these little weird things in mannerisms.
There he is, the man of your dreams.
He'll live here with us forever. It's like you're marrying both of us, David. Me and Mama.
David, have you given much thought to what you'll be doing for your honeymoon?
Yeah, I got a few plans, yeah. I'll do.
I tell you what he won't be doing if he doesn't lose some weight.
No, settle your ass down, man. You know, that's unnecessary. It was already, you know, we already have a funny story. You already have a character that's just merely funny to look at.
And that got one of the biggest laughs in the movie. Like, everybody in the theater was, oh my God!
Yeah, they were like him.
It was weird.
Well, also, even within the movie, so many of the characters felt like they were in different movies. Like him and Kristen Wiig, I thought they worked well together. Like they were playing off each other. But Kate McKinnon came in like, I don't think you know what you're supposed to do here. Like, they didn't have anything for her, so her thing was to just ad-lib, and she's doing the character she does on Saturday Night Live, where it's just too much.
And she was one of the ones I actually enjoyed the most of, because I was like, she's just doing that odd character that I'm used to on SNL. So I'm like, all right, I know what that is.
She did the same thing in Ghostbusters.
Yeah. She's always that weird, quirky character. Like, there's something off about them. And I dug that with her, but everything else is just like, oh, God, no.
Well, I mean, it'd be enough if again, if they would just stop at a certain point. But even with Zach Galifianakis looking weird, it's like, okay, you look weird enough, but they keep having to dress him up throughout the movie. It's not so much a performance. It's not so much character development. It's just, how many different wigs can we slap on him? How many different costumes can we slap on him?
Look at him. Look like Kenny Rogers and Kenny Loggins had a love child. And then Kenny G, he just showed up to the birthday party, started playing the flute, and messed this boy up.
Speaking of which, I don't know how they got away with that, but there was a Leslie Jones is a man joke in there.
That was one of the better jokes in this movie.
It was, and I gotta tell you, I was scared to laugh. You know?
I still heard you back there laughing.
When you thought she was there?
Yeah, just in case she was there, and she's still mad about that gorilla comment you made. Like, you know what? But she was cool with it, you know. And if she was one, and look, you know what? I would actually let that joke slide because she was one of the more stable characters in the movie.
She was normal.
She was normal. You know, it wasn't her, you know, trying to go overboard like some of the other. They didn't dress up in a weird costume. I mean, look at this shit right here. You know, this is, you know, putting them up like they go overboard. They got them looking like with a Britney Spears wig on and Michael Jackson Thriller eyes. I mean, this is just over the top right here.
Like, I feel like with what you said with Lorne Michaels being involved in this, there was only like 10% of a script written there. Like, all right, just improvise the rest.
Oh, yeah.
This is the start, this is the middle, this is the end. Just make up shit and have it tie together.
Well, and that's how it felt. But then you get to the gag reel at the end that proves that, like, yes, it's exactly like I thought it was.
It's a bunch of ad-libbing. And the reason why this is not a movie where they should let a lot of ad-libbing happen, because if this had been, look, if this is one of those movies they want to make where Jared Hess just goes off and makes Napoleon Dynamite Part 2, where the movie just full of weird people, that's one thing. But this is, they can't get the tone right. There are moments where they want to steer into dark comedy, especially when Jason Sudeikis comes in. You know, they want to steer into dark territory with some of these characters. And you know me, I love Jason Sudeikis, and I love his acting in the movie. I mean, he made me laugh.
I heard him the second he popped up on screen. Corey, I want to turn around like, boy, if you don't chill your ass out, he ain't that funny. He ain't said nothing yet.
Well, the thing is, but Jason Sudeikis, he's really good when he first appears in the movie. I was like, all right, because when Jason Sudeikis shows up and the way he is, I was like, all right, the movie's had some trouble now, but now it's found its footing.
I know.
Here we go.
Yeah, well, Corey said I was like Zach Galifianakis when he walked in.
The second he popped up, man, I was like, all right, this is going to be funny, but I feel like this is too good to last.
It was all right. It was.
Well, you know what? No,
it was
when
really
he comes,
good, but it just couldn't last.
When he comes in, Jason Sudeikis is in good form as always.
So, who y'all want me to kill?
Whoa, Mike. Well, no. We'll talk about it later. Not now. Not in front of.
Oh, I see. Is it one of them?
Boys, get upstairs right now. Now.
I love that little fat boy. Like, stop.
You know what took the air out of that scene, though, was that was one of the main parts of the trailer. So I was like, well, damn. Like, you showed one of your funniest gags already.
Because I saw that trailer. I was laughing. I love that little boy. Not so hard. See something you like? You know,
Did you notice how Owen Wilson's Southern accent stuck around for 2 scenes?
Oh, yeah.
No, and it was just gone.
Man, Owen Wilson going to be Owen Wilson. He ain't going to be not a fucking thing else.
But when he first came on, he was trying to do a Southern accent. I was like, oh, well, good for him. But, oh, well.
No, Owen Wilson going to always be Owen Wilson. That's you hire him for that. You nothing else. Like, if you cast him as a dog, you're gonna be like, Wolf. You know, he's not gonna be anything else.
The second he got cast in World Tenenbaums, you can't tell me nothing. Like, all right, got
you know, And the reason why that didn't work is because you have a hitman, and they're playing that up to be cute. And it's actually very disturbing for that particular character because this is a guy that walks around with people's human ears in his pocket.
Yeah.
He has people's teeth in his pocket. And he walks around and jokes about it, and he expects to go and be like, oh, that crazy guy right there. And it's Jason Sudeikis, so I did that for a couple of times. But throughout the whole film, it's weird, man. It's just that they want to, this is a menacing character. That doesn't last that long. They're playing him up to be cute too. They're giving him funny montages just like every other character in the film. And it's like, at some point, you need to pull back and ask yourself, are we going to actually put some menace and darkness in this film, or do we just want to be goofball through the whole thing? And they can't make up their mind what they want to do.
Yeah, like it got to the point where like he's this kick-ass bounty hunter or headhunter, and you're like, oh, he must be really smart because he finds who he needs to find. But then it gets to a part where they have this big reveal, and he's like, oh wow, now I can't do this. I'm like, wait, you're good enough to find somebody in another country, but you can't realize what happened in this scene. That shit pissed me off.
You can never figure it out throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I mean, like I said, some of these characters not. Every character in this movie is on the same stupid ass playing level and on the same playing field. Nobody is outside of that weird idiot character that everybody else is. That is no one else. And when you do that in this movie, it defeats the purpose of this ever having the premise of it being about a crime heist.
Right.
I mean, it's just you really are watching another Napoleon Dynamite type.
Yeah,
world.
I mean, it's kind of like Tower Heist, where everybody's an idiot and they do things where you go like, okay, I'm just watching a circus here.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I would say that this is probably, at least in my opinion, this is not a movie that you would give to someone like Jared Hess. You got Napoleon Dynamite, and then damn boy, what the fuck are you doing on that?
Stop moving.
I mean, he's like, why is it squeaking the whole time he's been?
Okay, I thought he had a balloon back there. He was just
Yeah, get that man another chair. Shit, we got Napoleon Dynamite back there. Yeah, but I have to say, look, I like Napoleon Dynamite, but after Napoleon Dynamite, you had movies like Nacho Libre.
Your favorite, Gentleman Broncos.
Gentleman Broncos. Did you know that he came out with a movie after that?
Really?
That, again, people said, why are you still doing all this weird shit, man?
What was it?
I forgot the name of it, man. It was something with, again, where you had, what's his name from Gentleman Broncos?
Jermaine Clement?
Jermaine Clements is in it, and who played the space guy in that or whatever? The guy
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yeah, they play archaeologists who fake a finding, and it's
really,
yeah. Everybody, even people said, "Man, stop making Napoleon Dynamite."
That premise sounds awful.
Nacho Libre and all these other movies, you might as well call them Napoleon Dynamite 2, 3, and 4 instead of trying to make different movies. But this movie should have. When I talk about movies where they've taken strange stories and strange incidents, and especially when they have to do with crime. And they've tried to make a movie out of them, including bringing in comedy elements here. You have things like Bernie, which was done by Richard Linklater. That's a movie with Jack Black, where he was, he killed an older woman in order to get a fortune. I'll even go back to my favorite, and we talked about this, Pain and Gain.
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought of the whole time. It's like, that's how you make one of these.
Yeah, Michael Bay did that. And a lot of people criticize that movie, but if you go back and look at the story, everything that happened in that movie, no matter how crazy it sounds, happened. And he didn't have to go exaggerate anything. I mean, as much as we like Michael Bay likes to exaggerate, he didn't have to. He had no.
I mean, he did some exaggeration, but not to this point.
But not to this level right here. This is. I chuckled at some parts because the silliness in this is sometimes. Look, when some people just get stupid with things, at least with me, and they just bombard you with it, even if it's something funny, a couple of things often hit with me. I mean, I don't have any clips or anything, but the silliness in this movie, when it's too self-aware, when it's bringing too much attention on itself, that's when it doesn't work. When you have the silliness in the movie where you don't know what's happening, you don't know where it's coming from. They had a scene where they were throwing a party by a pool. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, there were old people working the party with sleeveless shirts, dressed up like mermaids.
And they didn't explain it. And I was like, Okay, I like that.
And I laughed my ass off. They showed an old ass mermaid. I mean, her titties were down to her fin, and they're trying to bring her like they were bringing her hors d'oeuvres. She was like, fuck it, I don't want anything. There was a scene where a dude got knocked out by a door, for no reason. Yeah. A character wasn't even in there. Little things like that work. Why? Because they're not over explaining it. They're not overdoing it. They're just letting the thing speak for itself. For this right here, though, for most of it, they really, in my opinion, botched up what could have been a very interesting heist story. You guys go ahead.
What's your rating?
I want to hear y'all's first.
We can wait. Come on, man. Just say what you want to say.
You know what? I'll give it this is what I was going to give it anyway. Give it a very low rental. Very low rental. Right. I mean, I'm talking about you scraping that barrel rental right there.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I'm glad you brought up all these other movies like Pain and Gain and Napoleon Dynamite. I feel like this movie was those two smashed together, and then you just threw in MacGruber for some odd ass reason. Yeah, because like even Krista Wiig does some of the things that her character did in MacGruber. So I was like, all right, you guys are just smashing all this together. And hearing that Lorne Michaels had a massive part of this, no wonder all these SNL people in here and the improvisation going on was out of control. With me, man, I agree with you. I got a couple of chuckles out of this movie, but it doesn't make up for just overall how bad this film was, dude. It just felt like they set out a goal to make a movie, and they're like, what's it going to be about? Oh, well, we found this bank robber guy. Just do something. And SNL shit comes in. This is some old bullshit, man. This is a mess. This is a hot mess.
Yeah, it really, I can't blame you, man. Because I'm talking about the stuff I laughed at. It's painfully unfunny sometimes. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm embarrassed. You sit there and watch something, you're just like, damn, man, I can't even witness this. Yeah,
because what it is you're watching a lot of comedic actors, a lot of really talented actors who are way better than this material. And you're having to watch them go through this. And you see moments when they actually rise to the challenge and just give whatever they got for it. But ultimately, it's a waste of their time. It's a waste of our time. It's a mess. And I thought maybe it might be like The Wedding Ringer, where that started out rough, but then it got better, and I ended up liking it. Mm-hmm. And this is really an embarrassment, and it's some old bullshit movie, and yet I hate myself that I have to give it a rental because there was several points in it where I didn't just chuckle, I laughed. I mean, I would be laughing and like, God damn it, don't do that.
That mermaid got your ass.
The mermaid. I mean, I can't think of any of them now, but it was so many different points through it. There was even one joke where the person I was sitting next to was looking at me, cutting their eyes at me, and I knew they were, and it was kind of like
it was Korey.
It was great sitting between you two, by the way. You're an aisle back, and he's an aisle forward, so I see his head just sitting there the whole time, and I hear you behind me. I was like, holy shit.
Did you notice what I see all the time when he's liking something? Do you see them shoulders going?
I wasn't watching it that hard.
Thank you.
I do. I watch because that projector from that projector shine, it's going to the screen, but every now and then some of it will catch on his head when he got that on. And you can tell when Martin's enjoying a movie because that light would just bounce around. And I saw you in there a little bit, man.
Yeah, man, it would catch me off guard more times than I feel comfortable with, and it would make me not just chuckle but actually laugh to where like the joke would be over and I'd still be laughing about it, and it would go back to some old bullshit stuff, and I was like, you got me in a spot where I have to give it up to you that you did get some laughs out of me.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's a low rental.
I'm with you, man. I got some chuckles out of it. I thought, what, man?
You and that the black chick sitting behind me. Oh God, you over she was repeating every line that she thought was funny.
Oh no, not
so
one of those.
I was like, no, I hate my life. It was bad, man.
It's funny when you bring your girl in, because I'm sitting next to a critic, and I can't. When you sit next to a critic and they ain't laughing, you can't laugh either, man. It was shit. When I was sitting up there pulling my Zach, you can see that critic. He wasn't looking at me, but he was shaking his head the whole time.
That's what I was doing, man. I heard you laughing. I was like, oh my God.
And on top of that, I hate to bust you out on this, baby, but my girl was talking to the movie too. She turned to one of those people where she was saying lines.
Oh no.
It might have been me instead of the black chick.
Like, and she was talking lines to shit that didn't even have words like this. She said, "Hey, baby, ha ha." He said, ha ha.
Wow.
I was like, but I couldn't say anything because I was like, yeah, you know, man, it's a low rental right there.
Yeah.
Don't hate, man.
I'm not hating.
Don't hate us.
With my opinion, if you just went down or something.
I got so many glaring looks at that screen, and don't hate me, bro.
You had fun, man. That's all we want.
I did see one person write. You could tell they were a critic because they wrote in their form. They just said too cold.
Too cold.
Too cold. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
About the theater or the movie?
It was freezing.
Save Chambers, you double-crossed me.
David?
Yeah, I'm right here, Sugar Bush, okay? Don't worry about a thing.
Oh!
Lord, that's a cheap door.
You gotta give me a 3 count next time.